eggs are also a great source of omega-3s, particularly if we're getting pasture-raised eggs. The more grass and greens that the chicken eats, the higher amount of omega-3 fatty acids, which are very anti-inflammatory, very good for brain health. The more of that is going to be concentrated in the egg. This is why I'm a big fan of pasture-raised. It's not pasteurized. A lot of people confuse that. Pasteurized means basically that it was cooked in a sense to kill bacteria. So it's not pasteurized, it's pasture-raised. When we're consuming the pasture-raised eggs, we're going to get the higher amounts of omega-3s. We're also going to get another fatty acid called CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, which is amazing for turning on fat burning, so great for your metabolism, also great for immune health. There's actually research that shows that CLA, getting a higher amount of CLA in your diet, reduces your risk of developing autoimmune conditions as well as cancer. So really powerful nutrient. Eggs are one of the best sources. Grass-fed, pasture-raised eggs, one of the best sources. Also very rich in these minerals, selenium and zinc. Selenium and zinc, very critical for immune function, very critical for thyroid health. The better our thyroid's functioning, the better we're going to burn fat for fuel. So very important for keeping a healthy immune system as well as healthy metabolism. Getting selenium and zinc, we're going to get that in our pasture-raised egg, one of the best sources of both of those. We're also going to get something called vitamin A and vitamin E, all of our fat-soluble nutrients. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K2 are found in egg, particularly in the yolk. Really the white, all the white really has is protein, which is important. We want that protein, so we don't want to just consume yolk, but it doesn't have the nutrients. So we really need to make sure we're consuming the yolk because that's where the nutrients are. So don't throw out your yolk. Don't stick with egg whites. It's one of the biggest mistakes people make is they go with the white, they get the protein, but they don't get any of these nutrients and healthy fats. So we really want to make sure we're doing that. There's also something called biotin inhibitor in the egg white, and that biotin inhibitor blocks our body's ability to uptake biotin. Now, in nature, the egg balances it out because the egg yolk is so rich in biotin as well as other B vitamins that we're able to get the biotin we need. However, if we're removing the yolk, we're just consuming the white, we might actually be depleting our overall sources of biotin and other B vitamins, setting us up for future problems. So B vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin E, all really critical for immune function, critical for metabolic health, so our ability to burn fat. Vitamin E is actually one of the most important nutrients, most important antioxidants for protecting that endothelial lining of the blood vessels, protecting against damage to those blood vessels, and protecting against scar tissue formation. We talked about that with the calcium. So getting nutrients like vitamin E as well as vitamin A, getting your omega-3s, your vitamin D, vitamin K2 helps protect the blood vessels and helps you have better blood flow, better blood pressure, and a healthier cardiovascular system. On top of that, eggs are rich in choline, and choline is one of the most important nutrients for all cell membranes. It's also very important for brain health. It helps to upregulate something called acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that you need for good memory. Acetylcholine helps, it's concentrated neurotransmitter in our frontal lobe as well as in our temporal lobe that helps us with memory recall. Choline helps upregulate that. Choline is also critical for good bile flow. We talked about that before. Choline is a bile salt. So choline helps support good bile function, good bile flow. So eggs are one of the best sources of choline that you can be consuming. So choline, we also have saturated fat and cholesterol. Now, I know I just talked about how saturated fat and cholesterol have been demonized and how they could be a problem if we're eating a diet high in ultra-processed foods. However, in a diet that's low in carbohydrates, that's really made up of real foods that are nutrient dense, saturated fat and cholesterol are incredibly important. And that is because they are key components to every cell membrane. Around every cell of your body, you have a double layer of fat. And saturated fat and cholesterol provide stability for that cell membrane. Things like omega-3s and omega-6s, they provide what we call fluidity. And that allows for good hormone receptor function. When you have enough and the right ratio of very stable fats, saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, cholesterol, those provide a lot of stability. And then the more fluid fats, which are going to be your polyunsaturated fats, your omega-3s and your omega-6, when you have the right ratio there, you're going to have really good hormone receptor function. we need the cholesterol and saturated fat. So it's super critical we get it in our diet. Those fatty acids also are very hard to become rancid, right? They're very stable, and that helps reduce the overall oxidative stress load in our system. If we're eating a lot of polyunsaturated fats, a lot of these omega-3s, a lot of omega-6s, we do need some, right? But if we're eating a lot of them because we're eating lots of nuts and seeds and we're getting most of our fats from plant-based sources, then we're going to create more oxidative stress because those fats are less stable. So the saturated fats and cholesterol provide membrane stability, and they're also more stable, so they reduce the oxidative stress load on our system. And we know oxidative stress is kind of like rusting in the body, and it's the precursor to inflammation. And so we want to keep inflammation down, we got to keep oxidative stress down. So getting the cholesterol, saturated fat in the diet, avoiding the ultra-processed foods and the really high carbohydrate, really high glycemic index and glycemic load foods, that is the perfect combination for reducing oxidative stress, reducing inflammation, and allowing you to thrive.